For the next 30 minutes, we will explore the unexplained. From mysteries beyond our galaxy to ghostly phenomena in our own backyard, we will dive into our psychic abilities and explore everything from conspiracies to the just plain weird. Welcome to 30-odd minutes. If the truth is out there, we will find it. But only by sheer accident.
Thank you. Welcome to 30-odd minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Belanger, your gatekeeper to the realm of the unexplained and the amazing and all that other stuff. I'm so excited about tonight's show. We've got a great topic, UFOs, extraterrestrial, space exploration. We're going to be covering all of that. And what an amazing guest. If you've been watching the show for a long time, you know I am a believer. I became a believer May 26th, 1987. I was 13 years old living in Newtown, Connecticut. And what's really cool is I had that experience validated right here on this show about a year ago with Richard Dolan. In fact, he showed this photo that was the actual object I saw in the sky with my dad. Going to bed that night, my dad's screaming from the backyard, "Jeff, get out of here right now." And it's funny because Dad is not a scream from the backyard kind of guy. And I race out to the back door and I said, What's going on? And he said, right up in the sky, there's a UFO. It's right there. I'm like, are you out of your mind? And I walk and turn around and, oh my God, there's this huge ring of lights in the sky. But here's the kicker. Dad and I watched this thing for over a minute. That's an eternity when it comes to paranormal phenomena. Over a minute. And the next morning, the front page of the Danbury News-Times says, over 100 phone calls, lights seen in the sky. It was a group of Cessnas, single-engine airplanes, flying in formation, really low and slow and incredibly quiet because this thing made no noise. So we shrugged our shoulders, and then on this show, Richard Dolan showed me this photo. There it is. That just doesn't look like a ring of Cessnas to me flying in formation. They just don't look like that. Very cool, validated right here on this show. So amazing topic, totally excited for tonight. If you're watching the show live at 30oddminutes.com, please jump in our chat room because Sarah, Rob, Matt, there they are waiting. You guys sent us tons of emails, questions for our guest tonight. That's going to be great. Did we get some emails, Twitters, tweets? What did we get this week?
Yeah, we did. We got some good tweets, actually. I'm going to read. We got one just an hour ago from Are You Dead Yet? She says, I'm counting down the minutes till 30-odd, and right now, the longer I wait, the more anxious I get. I need more time. I need time to move faster.
All right.
We're
time
loved.
to move faster. Time travel. Possible future show.
And we had a lot of tweets when we had to cancel our show a couple weeks in a row because of the blizzards, if you've heard, that we got a little bit hit over here, and that's an understatement. So we got a lot of commiserating tweets of, what it's like to live here and everyone comparing their...
A lot of shoveling.
A lot of shoveling, a lot of snow. Yeah, so they could feel our pain.
A lot of snow here at the...
High Banks.
A little bit.
Yeah, 30-odd minutes headquarters. A lot of snow, a lot of crazy snow. Folks, are you believers? Matt, I'm guessing, yeah. Matt's a believer. Sarah?
Absolutely.
Rob?
Yeah.
We have no dissension tonight. Okay. Well, that's all right. It's going to be great. I'm really excited. What a guest we have. Tonight's guest is arguably the world's best-known ufologist. And I can tell you with certainty, he's an amazing guy, an amazing speaker. As a physicist, he worked on classified fission and fusion nuclear propulsion systems for space exploration for companies such as General Electric. He's the author of several books, including Flying Saucers and Science, and his latest, Science Was Wrong. You've seen him on just about every UFO documentary ever. Live from the Canadian Maritimes, please welcome Stanton Friedman.
Woo! Yeah.
Sir, can you hear us? Are you there?
Excellent. Turn up the volume.
All right, turn up the volume. It's like you know us. He's also psychic. Thank you so much. So science is wrong about what? Please tell us.
It's been wrong about almost everything at one time or another. There are 14 chapters in the book, and my co-author Kathleen Martin and I each wrote 7. I focused on more of the hard sciences, aviation and space and stuff like global warming, so-called, stuff like that. Kathleen Martin looked at, she did an article on the conundrum of UFO abductions. I did a whole paper, a whole chapter on UFOs. and all the stupid things that smart people have said that were totally wrong about UFOs.
Right.
I focus, too, on things like aviation, because when you're looking at the UFO question for as long as I have, which is like 53 years now, you realize that one of the most common arguments is that you can't get here from there. So we're talking about technology. How do you get to Earth from some other star system? And once you're here, how could you possibly behave the way these crazy flying saucers behave?
Right.
So technology is my long suit. And when we trace the history, we find that every advancement has been preceded by some smart guy saying something stupid. Let me give you a quote. This, well, I'll tell you the date in a minute. The demonstration that no possible combination of known substances, known forms of machinery, and known forms of force can be united in a practical machine by which man shall fly long distances through the air, seems to this writer as complete as it is possible for the demonstration of any physical fact to be. Basically, he's saying it's impossible.
Right. This
is Dr. Simon Newcomb, the most prominent American astronomer of the 19th century. And he said this 2 months before the Wright brothers' first flight. He was wrong. The trouble with people being wrong, who are prominent and intelligent and educated and also ignorant and arrogant at the same time, is that their pronouncements keep a lot of other people from getting involved, from spending time, money, and effort on research.
Right.
Because everybody knows it's impossible. And it took years before people had come around to the idea that man could actually fly.
Well, tell me this. Is science a belief system?
Is science a belief system? Actually, science is supposed to be a method to solve problems.
Right.
A method of approach to problem solving. And the trouble is that many people think that they know it all in a particular area, and they don't allow for the new. But one thing that's characterized the last, let's say, 120 years is that every time you turn around, there's something new coming up that somebody had said was impossible. When the first X-ray paper was published, a key English scientist said that it was a hoax, had to be a hoax. There were no such things.
Right.
You know, as you move on in time, all kinds of other demonstrations of reality. I mean, it's hard to realize, especially for me as a nuclear guy, but we didn't even discover that there were neutrons until 1932.
Right.
I mean, the world was around loaded with neutrons for billions of years before that, but we didn't know about them.
Right, right.
We didn't figure out what makes the stars work, nuclear fusion, until 1938. Now, admittedly, we put that to use pretty quickly. In 14 years, we exploded our first H-bomb, 3-mile-wide fireball, incidentally.
Yeah.
And it does give you a good indication of how times change, because that H-bomb produced as much energy as exploding 10 million tons of TNT. A big bomb 10 years earlier was a 10-ton blockbuster. From 10 to 10 million in 10 years. That's an enormous change.
Sure.
And an H-bomb is not just better TNT. My mantra, if you will, is that technological progress comes from doing things differently in an unpredictable way. The future is not an extrapolation of the past. You have to change how you do things. And incidentally, between the 10-ton and the 10 million ton was the atomic bomb, which at that time was roughly 18,000 tons of TNT equivalent. And so if you change what you're doing, you can accomplish some things that are otherwise seemingly impossible. As an example of that, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, and we have built, the United States has built several, a couple of other countries have built them. They're huge monsters. They can run for 18 years without refueling.
Yeah.
And think about that for a minute. That's an awful lot of ships full of fuel, isn't it?
Yeah, amazing.
So when you change how you do things, I worked on a fusion propulsion system study way back, my God, in the early 1960s. If you use the right stuff in the right way, you can kick particles out the back end of a rocket that have 10 million times as much energy per particle as they can get in a dumb old chemical rocket.
Right.
You got to change how you do things, but it's not impossible. It's just that you haven't been doing it right.
Right. Well, let's quickly talk about. You talked about the H-bomb, the 1940s, and of course, 1940s in ufology means Roswell, July 1947, front page news, a crashed craft. There it is. Of course, the Roswell Daily Record. This is what really drew you into the field of ufology, correct?
No. I read a book in 1958.
Okay.
Edward Ruppelt's book, The Report on Unidentified Flying Objects. It was a good first book.
Yep.
It didn't convince me, but it got me intrigued. And then in 1961, I found a copy of, I read 15 other books in between. I found a copy of the biggest study ever done by the United States Air Force, unclassified study, Project Blue Book, Special Report number 14.
Yep.
And I was shocked. It was at the University of California, Berkeley Library. This is what it looks like, if you can see that.
Yep.
I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah, we got it.
Anyway, the point is this study covered 3,201 sightings. The work was done by Battelle Memorial Institute in Columbus, Ohio, under contract to Project Blue Book, the Air Technical Intelligence Center. And what was shocking was the guy who had it published, privately published, included the Air Force press release, which was put out at the time that the study was completed. The report wasn't distributed, but the press release was. And in the press release, I was shocked to see that the Secretary of the Air Force, Donald Quarles, said, quote, "On the basis of this report, we believe that no objects such as those popularly referred to as flying saucers."
Well, I think we had a little audio hiccup. Hopefully you're coming right back. If not, we will jump right back. Stanton, if you can hear us, we just had a little audio glitch, and hopefully you'll be popping right back with us. We lost him. Folks, what kind of questions, what kind of chat are we getting in the chat room there? Oddballs on the couch.
Stanton fans, a lot of big
cut
fans.
to them.
He's kind of a big deal, you know. We're lucky to have him. Maybe he realized that and that's why he left. I don't know.
Well, I've had a chance to meet him on several occasions, and
Where?
I met him 20 years ago.
Ooh. Think he'd recognize you? Probably not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he knows me. I've dealt with him on several occasions.
Yeah. You're kind of unforgettable.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
But,
I meant that in the best possible way.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. But he's an exceptional speaker. He definitely knows his stuff inside and out. And you're a consummate scientist, and he'll explore every avenue, leaving no stone unturned. And the work he's done has been exemplary, in my personal opinion, as a fellow scientist. Yeah, he has a lot of detractors, but then again, you know, empty minds echo the loudest.
Yes, they do.
So,
With a thud.
yeah, resounding thud. But we'll leave it at that. Have you had a chance to actually read any of his material?
You know, what's funny is I was in a used bookstore this weekend.
Yeah.
In Providence, going through the UFO books, and I saw the name Stanton Friedman, and I was like, holy cow, like, that's going to be our guest this week. So I was like kind of geeking out in the middle of the store.
Was this the book?
It's one of his books.
Betty and Barney Hill. I know that story, though. It's freaking.
Betty was a
It scared me to death when I was a kid. I found it fascinating.
Well, the...
What, you know her? Don't tell me you know her, too.
Betty Hill? Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually still have pieces of her dress that she wore that night.
With the pink dust on it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's true.
I want to see. You
That's,
should have brought them.
I didn't think to bring it. It's part of my little archives. You know, I have soil from the Bentwaters incident. I have pieces of crop circles. I've got
All right, well,
big footprints.
next time I'm over, I'm totally having you take that out.
You've been to my house. You've seen all the crazy
well,
stuff I have
I
in
just
there.
had no idea. That's pretty cool.
Bring him in for the next show.
I could do that. Oh, well, the next UFO show? I could do that. That's providing people out there really
Bring in some
want to
guns.
see that kind of stuff.
Why do you have her dress? Were you like
It's not her
analyzing?
dress. It's just pieces of her dress. I was doing.
like analyzing part of it.
I had done some analysis on her dress years ago,
Okay.
and I still have some pieces that were sent to me by another scientist that did some testing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What were the results of that? I always wondered.
It shows
Did
some
you can't ever
unusual
really tell?
proteins. It showed some degradation to the polymers. It's a 50-50 blend of like polyester and cotton. Okay,
The dress itself.
The dress itself, yeah, typical mid-60s type of thing.
Housewife dress.
Yeah, basically. 50-50 cotton poly blend, and it showed some degradation in both the plastic as well as the organic parts of the dress.
In a way that
Yeah.
couldn't be explained.
Guys, thank you for the conversation.
Sure.
Awesome stuff. We did lose our guest, sadly. It is a Skype connection. It's imperfect. It's pretty awesome when it works, but we are trying to get him back right now. Want to show a couple clips, though. One of the reasons we wanted Stanton to come on this show is because there's been a rash of UFO sightings lately, especially in China. Here's some still photos starting September 11th, 2010. This UFOs over China. Tons of pictures. We've got a few of them here. Here's the thing. Between June and October of 2010, there were 8 reports of UFOs over China. And here's some of the various photos that were captured. Here's the thing about China. They don't release a lot of information, the Chinese. Not so much. So we're talking about commercial airports being shut down because this craft was seen overhead, witnessed by a lot of people, photographs taken, on, and yet this stuff gets out. And that's what's so cool about the time we live in right now. Think about all of our phones have got video cameras on them. They've got still cameras on them. We have the ability to take pictures more than ever. So when I was a kid, 13 years old, I was caught without a camera when a pretty cool sighting happened. That's not happening so much today. Now, of course, the downside is that with YouTube and all this stuff, we get a lot of stuff that might be fake, and that's sadly part of the discussion we're in. And when you find holes in it, skeptics like to point that out quickly. But then there's also been sightings very recently. Check out this video clip. This is from American Fork, Utah, January 26th, 2011. We're going to be talking over this. You see two red dots. It's kind of faint to see. And this video is 6 minutes long. We did edit the video, I can tell you, but only for length because we didn't want to show you 6 minutes of basically this. Something sparkling on fire or whatever comes out of the bottom of the craft. You can see it right there. Falls to the ground, and then the camera cuts back to the other craft as well. So, and there's something coming out of it as that. Now that's American Fork, Utah, January 26, 2011. Here's the crazy thing. 2 days later, just 2 days later, January 28th, over Jerusalem, the city of Jerusalem, this video comes out. Very compelling. See that white light hovered for a while and drops right down. That is right over the Dome of the Rock. Jerusalem, of course, is the epicenter of a lot of world religions. Christianity, Judaism, Muslims all view this city as a sacred place. This bright light comes down. It's still over the rock. Keep watching because you're going to see a bright flash and then something that I don't know if we have any crafts that can act like this. Keep watching. You've got, and again, we cut this down for length as well. And there's the flash and pew, straight up. Pretty amazing, pretty compelling stuff. Moniz, when you saw this, what did you think?
I thought it was pretty compelling considering that it was photographed or videoed from several different angles. It's not just, people's cell phones, it's security cameras and things like that, which to me lends a little bit more credence. When you have a security video being taken that's, you're dealing with a form of law enforcement. In other words, these cameras are trained to prevent crime, and they're used in courts to, solve cases or, provide, evidence.
Right.
Here, here's a pretty good source of evidence.
Right. Let's show it again, actually, because this really is, if you go on the UFO over Jerusalem video, if you go through, and you can go on YouTube and see the various camera angles, one of the things that...
Bear in mind, there's a couple of people hoaxing stuff now that's
right.
become popular, so just be careful.
Absolutely right, Matt. That's correct, and that's one of the downfalls of this, is when it becomes popular, when these things get 1 million hits on YouTube, someone else is gonna fake something, sadly. But what's so cool about this is that there were multiple camera angles. Skeptical people are quick to point out, like, well, okay, one person, one camera, one craft, I don't know, could be faked. But when you got people standing in various parts of the city, all capturing the same phenomena, it's really compelling. Now, does that mean that this craft is extraterrestrial from space with little green men inside? Not necessarily. Maybe there's some technology we don't know about, we're not supposed to know about. But if some government's trying to keep it a secret, hovering over a city like Jerusalem, heavily populated, probably not a great idea.
Well, bear in mind, where they're flying over is the most controlled airspace in the world.
Sure.
That's just as controlled as the White House. And they don't allow planes or anything to fly over the Dome of the Rock. It's also the remnants of King Solomon's Temple as well. So, yeah, it's a very holy place. And they keep planes far away from it as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of questions are we getting tonight? Sadly, we're still trying to get Stanton Friedman back on.
Well,
I got one.
They all wanted to know what his take was, obviously, on the recent sightings.
Sure.
But go for it, Rob.
Where is Stanton?
Yes.
Is that the
We're
question?
sick. No.
Ha ha ha.
No, there's a bunch of
You're
questions,
funny.
but
Yeah.
they're for Stanton.
Yes, understood.
They're not for
Understood.
you.
No.
We are
sorry,
still trying
Jeff.
to get him back, sadly. But this is such an amazing topic, because when you talk about exploring the paranormal, it's not, you're talking about exploring really big questions. I know this is what draws me into this stuff. When you look at the subject of ghosts, it's life. Is there life after death? When you're looking at UFOs, the question of, is there something else out there? Are there other intelligent entities in the universe? Here's the thing. I think it's horribly inefficient to assume that the entire universe exists just for us. What a waste that would be. I mean, what a horribly inefficient waste that would be, and nature isn't that inefficient. And if we're going to believe scientists who tell us that the universe is expanding, and some galaxies formed millions of years before ours, some millions of years after ours, that would mean that some intelligent beings might be millions of years ahead of us in technology, and assuming we don't blow ourselves up, kill ourselves, in 1 million years, I can't imagine what kind of technology we'd have. I mean, what would the iPhone be like, Sarah, in 1 million years?
Implant in your hands? Really? It's not even separate from you.
It would be the eye telepathy, I think, by that point. Where
True.
when you get a song stuck in your head, it would be quite literal. They would be beaming them into your head. Just how it goes. So, anyway. Rob, have you ever had a sighting? UFOs?
Not really.
Good answer.
Maybe
Next.
back in when I was a teenager, but it was kind of fuzzy back then, so I'm not sure exactly if it was a
Blocked it out.
helicopter or I
Right.
could have been abducted too. That's and blacked it out.
You could have. Matt, sightings?
Like Bonnie.
Yeah, I've had several.
Barney Hill.
Tell me. Tell us all. Share with the group.
Okay, one of the first sightings I had as a kid, teenager, with 4 or 5 other friends watching something come up out of, since I live on Cape Cod, Cranberry Bog area, coming up out of the back bogs, and flew basically directly towards me at treetop level, a triangle with lights on each corner. And it tilted at a 45-degree angle and just shot up like what you saw at Jerusalem without making a sound.
Yeah.
All my friends were all like, wow.
Yeah.
And then had another one in late 80s of a large cigar-shaped UFO that flew over the house I was living in. And that really launched me into looking into the subject.
What do you guys think? I mean, there's been a ton of sightings lately. I mean, in recent years, it's been kind of quiet, but in like the last year, there just seems to be a ton of sightings. A lot of them are making the news, mainstream news. We're not talking about fringe stuff. We're not talking about 30-odd minutes news. We mean, Fox, CNN, all of these news services are covering these stories. I mean, what's going on? Any thoughts?
What's going
do you
on
know what
is-
a lot of people are saying? No, just like even people that are skeptical in my circles, they're all starting to think, well, 2012, I mean, is there something really going on? Is this like what it means? Like they're going to come and either take over our planet and say, like, you're screwing up, like, done with you, or maybe they're going to come and enlighten us. I mean, who knows? But I hear that all the time, even amongst people that really aren't into this stuff.
Right.
They're kind of starting to get a little spooked. They're like, gosh, is this a coincidence that it's starting to like amp up the closer we get to that? So
They're coming to see if we pass the test.
But you know what we're not hearing so much though? We're hearing about tons of sightings, but I haven't heard a lot about abductions. Have you, Matt?
Yeah, the abduction phenomena, I've been working with Bud Hopkins and a number of other abduction researchers for years. The number of abductions as well as sightings has remained the same. If anything, they've actually somewhat diminished over the years. What's increased is the availability of media to broadcast it and the willingness of media to broadcast it. The numbers really haven't changed. Our acceptance of it has.
But do you think the media is broadcasting it because they're like, hey, it's kind of quirky and weird. Look at these crazy guys that go and look for ghosts. Look at these people that go and do sky watches looking for aliens. Are they laughing at us like here's an odd story, or do you think they're giving it any kind of credibility?
Depends upon the outlet and the story.
Fair enough. Over, Roger. Back to you. No, you're right. Of course, it does depend on the outlet, but and I think there's probably a little bit of both, and maybe there's almost that tongue-in-cheek with some of this reporting, almost as a way to to almost lighten their own mood, right? I mean, we tell jokes to make ourselves feel better. It's that nervous laugh, like, "Ha, aliens, crazy, right?" Oh man,
crap, yeah.
What if it's all for real? And Sarah, from a psychological standpoint, do you think the public would be ready? I mean, let's pretend the government knows all and world leaders are ready to hold a press conference tomorrow and just say, hey, they're here. They've been here for years. We know. What do you think? Sarah,
do you
would
want
you
my
tell me?
honest answer?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think as a humanity as a whole, yeah, I do. I do think we're ready. I think we're actually hungry for something, like something that matters more than just ourselves. Do I think there's going to be like a pretty large group that will freak out? Yes, of course.
Sure.
And they won't be able to handle it, and there'll be mental breakdowns, and I'll be set for a job for a while. But,
Yeah, it's good to be in psychology.
but yes, I do think we're actually getting to that point where we're ready for something like that. I do. I think it's a natural progression, to be honest.
And you almost wonder, I mean, we've been talking about this subject, we, collectively, humanity, have been talking about this subject for decades now. Since Roswell, the subject's gotten more and more popular. I think the notion, I think people believe more than ever. If you look at the polls, the numbers are up. People accept the fact that there probably are extraterrestrials. The Catholic Church, my gosh, the Vatican even has something in place, which is really interesting. I mean, these are large religious institutions who are preparing their flock in some way, even by talking about it, to say like, okay, if they land tomorrow, we can't freak out. I'm assuming if they had the technology to come this far, that fast, that if they wanted us all dead, we would probably already be dead. Matt, why aren't we dead yet?
They've been here for a very, very, very long time, and you're right. If they wanted us dead, we'd be so already.
Maybe we're all just ghosts walking around. Hey.
Or
All
Could
right.
be here on this couch.
maybe they saw that movie Independence Day and were like, whoa, okay, they got Will Smith, and frankly, we don't. So I'm thinking maybe we just back up. But here's the other thing, too. Like, people would say, why would they come all this distance just to see us? I think we're pretty interesting.
We're lab rats.
Huh? I think we're pretty interesting people. You ever watch?
Some of us.
You ever
Some
watch?
We'll
uh,
make great pets.
Ever watch
We'll make
reality
great
television?
pets.
We are interesting. Our lives are interesting. They're up there just watching. It's kind of like cable for them, I guess. But who knows? But it is a great topic. We do love exploring it. I am so bummed that we lost Stanton Friedman halfway through. I know you guys are too. We will try to get him back for another show. I apologize for the rough connection. Stanton, wherever you are a gem. You are the face of ufology, and we appreciate you being with us. Folks, until next time, better luck. Please stay on.
Yeah.
Thank you.